But never least, stepping to the microphone is the evil twin, and it's always good to see him. How are you, my friend?
Coach, D's galore in downtown Port Barry are having a listening party, and they want to tell you hello, and they also want you to know that our LSU fandom has been challenged. I was on the internet the other day, and I found this quotation on a message board by John from Charlotte, North Carolina, who's a UNC fan, who says, and I quote, "It doesn't matter that we will be outnumbered in the Georgia Dome. Unlike those LSU fans, we have leaders. The Heels will embarrass LSU and show them that their fans are as overrated as their football team." So, Coach, I have two responses to John from Charlotte, North Carolina. Number one, John, I'm glad that the University of North Carolina fans have leaders because you're going to need them. You see, a flock of sheep needs leaders. But you see, I'm from the greatest fan base there is in the country, and we have 30,000 LSU fans show up. And you know what, Coach? We're like the group of LSU Tigers. We're like a group of tigers that's out on the prowl. We don't need leaders because we already know what to do. And secondly, what I want to tell Mr. John is this. This is not basketball. This is football. And that North Carolina may be in the show, but they're not the stars of the show. And that the star of the show is the one that has the two crystal footballs. And I want Mr. John to know that you may think you're not Michael Jackson, you're Tito Jackson. So go get me a tissue, Tito. Coach, I have a question.
This is perfect. I love this. This is as much fun as there is.
Ryan Baker, our starting linebacker, unfortunately had an injury to his jaw. And, of course, he's a great player, and we're going to miss him for a little while. But my question to you is, what is your response to that? What is the answer to that? Are we going to shift players, and who are our starters going to be?
He broke his jaw in 4 spots. And the good news is it wasn't displaced. They're small fractures, and he'll come back very.
As always, last but certainly definitely not least, here is the evil twin. That's your fan club.
Coach, LSU superfan B.B. Broussard's having his birthday party here tonight with his family. We had a very short birthday party at BB's age. He may not be with us for very long. Coach, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Week in and week out, month after month, day after day, we get the national media and pundits telling us how many North Carolina football players will be playing football this Saturday. Oh, there's going to be 9 missing. Then the next minute, oh, no, there's going to be 2 missing. Oh, no, there's going to be a linebacker. No, a wide receiver. No, this, that, all missing. Coach, all I got to say is this. I have a news flash for the University of North Carolina. When we come knocking on your door at the Georgia Dome this coming Saturday, it will not be the United States Census Bureau. We will not be there to count you. We're the LSU Tigers. We will be here to kick your butts. And however many butts you got in that locker room won't make a difference. Coach, I have a question. Obviously, we lost.
One thing about it, you say it all. I mean, it's not like you hide anything, you know.
Coach, obviously we lost a prize quarterback by the name of Zach Lee. And obviously in 2012, we're going to probably have some depth problems coming up. So what I'd like to know is, what are your plans for filling up the depth chart? Obviously, we're going to have signees for this year, but are you considering or looking at the possibility of signing either transfers, JUCOs, or something else, not to name any names, but just what kind of plans do you have to fill the depth chart?
We're looking at a couple junior college transfers as well, but we really would like to hang as best we could with the high school student athlete. We might go with one transfer and really look at the high school student athlete to be where we would, because then we have them for 4 years and we have the skill and the ability to progress over time, and that's what we'd like to do. Now, we might in the
Stepping to the microphone, the man who has become a legend. A legend. Here is the evil twin. Ken, how are you?
Doing good. Coach, our fandom has been assaulted again for the second time in 3 weeks. 2 weeks ago, North Carolina fan assaulted us, and this week we get this gem from Prentice from Cleveland, Tennessee, who says, quote, LSU is in for the surprise of their lives. They will be beaten and quartered in Nashville. It will be so enjoyable to witness their disgusting fan base wallowing in it and shove it down their corn dog eating throats. Coach, in the words of the king in Braveheart, who is this man that speaks to me as if he were my equal? Here's a news flash for you, Prentice. Vanderbilt football is as relevant as Michael Jackson's glove. Whatever you have to say is not worthy of my response. You see, you're like Liechtenstein. You may hoop and holler. You may say all kinds of things in the United Nations. But you know what? At the end of the day, you ain't worth the price of my bomb to drop on your butt. Now go back home and stay away from your mommy's computer. Coach, I have a question. I know coaches have different philosophies on play calling. Certain coaches let their coordinators call plays. Some coaches prefer to call the plays themselves. Sometimes coaches prefer for plays to be scripted before or during the game. What is your philosophy on play calling, on who calls the plays during a particular game?
We script probably the first 20 plays in view of what would be neutral down and distances, first and 10, second and medium. And for the length of time, we run those. And then we go to what is a script of third down and short, third down and medium, third down and long, fourth down, red zone, tight zone, and we script a game plan as it reflects the field. And Coach Croton calls that game plan from the press box.
Twin.
Thank you, Coach. Coach, 2,600 years ago, on this very day, the Israelites entered Canaan, and the first city they came across was the fabled city of Jericho. And they told the people of Jericho, your time to surrender is today. But the people of Jericho refused to surrender. So the Israelites pulled out the band. The marching bands played. The trumpeters sounded their horns, and the walls of Jericho came crumbling down. And Jericho was annihilated. And so 2,600 years ago, today, we tell the people of Mississippi State, there's a moral to this story. And that is, your time to surrender is today. Because you know what? We got a giant artificial noisemaker at Baton Rouge. It's called the Golden Band from Tigerland. And when they go play those first 3 notes, me and 91,000 of my closest friends who make noise the old-fashioned way are going to make sure that your walls are crumbling down, Mississippi State. And the time for your surrender will be over, and the time for your butt whipping will commence. Thank you, and have a nice day. Coach, I have a question. D'Angelo Peterson, one of my favorite players, has been injured. When can I expect to see D'Angelo back on the field catching passes like he should be?
He worked hard today. He ran today. I think he wore a helmet and shoulder pads for pieces of the practice.
Coach!
This guy's the best. Yeah, yes, I'm just telling you, there isn't any question, right? Right. I hope you guys come to hear him because I do. Yeah.
Coach, you're a gentleman, but I'm not. What kind of schedule is this? Last Saturday we get Moo You. This Saturday we get Hillbilly High. It's okay, Coach, I can insult him. You need electricity to get this broadcast. West Virginia is an Indian word. It means Mississippi with mountains. It's like a giant manhole cover. Its only purpose in life is to prevent Pennsylvania from falling on top of Virginia. Coach, I have a question.
I just want you to know, I am not saying these things. That is someone else.
Coach, I have a question. Will Blackwell unfortunately got hurt the first play of the first game of the season. And, of course, I know we miss him on the offensive line. I've heard different reports. One report I heard was that he was going to be back in 6 weeks. Later, I heard that he was out for the whole year. So my question to you is, when, I know you're not a doctor, but when can we expect to see Will Blackwell back on the field?
I would be optimistic to say this year. And I think that there's a chance that he might be back the back end of the year, but I'm not optimistic in the short term in any way. I would like to tell you 6 weeks. That would not. I don't think that'll get it done. And so, what will probably come into play here is, considering it was the first play of the year, and whether or not he's liable for.
Last but never least, here's the evil twin. Right here. Here he is.
Coach, cry me a Tennessee river. This week, we get this gem from Joe from Memphis. He's a Vol fan, and he writes, "It just isn't fair that the Vols have to travel to Baton Rouge with the distractions of an NCAA investigation, Kiffin's mess, and with all our green, inexperienced players." Well, I have a news flash for you, Joe. When your team shows up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, your team's going to be greeted by me and 91,000 of my closest friends. And we are not Dr. Phil. We are not concerned about your feelings. We are not here to resolve your problems. We are here to kick your butt. We are here to add to the problems that you created for yourselves. Coach, I have a question. Earlier you talked about Patrick Peterson. Well, I'm going to ask a follow-up question. Someone took my question, but I'll ask a follow-up. Specifically, what positions have you considered placing Patrick Peterson at? Inquiring minds want to know.
First, I just want you to know that this Tennessee team is a very capable football team. They're returning to health. There's a need to play well against this team, and we're not going by what their fan base may have written in a blog or they may have put on the internet. We realize that this team here is a very, very dangerous team, and we need to play well against them. And we do the things that we're capable of doing. We'll like the outcomes. Now, Patrick Peterson, we've considered him at punt return, certainly, at kick return, at receiving a ball, and at running a ball, and at receiving a snap. So.
There he is.
Coach, I want to give out a big get well soon for a big Tiger fan who's recovering from surgery, Mr. Scott Cobb, who's listening tonight to you on the radio. Coach.
Go, baby.
Cry me a Tennessee River Part 2. Coach Derek Dooley is whining and crying. He's hooping and hollering. He's filing all kinds of complaints with the SEC office about the fact that he had 13 players on the field. Well, Coach, I have something to tell Mr. Derek Dooley. Derek, maybe you didn't get the memo, and I know you haven't been a coach for very long in the Southeastern Conference, but here in the Southeastern Conference, only one team is allowed to have 13 players, and that's the University of Alabama. And here's another thing, Mr. Derek Dooley. When you turn in all those complaints to the SEC office, it's kind of like we say in Cajun French, le docteur après la mort. That's as useless as the doctor after the death. All you're getting is an apology. You can't even get green stamps to buy gas with that thing. Coach, I have a question.
I knew he did.
Two players that were injured last Saturday. One, our center, P.J. Lonergan, heard some bad reports early, but maybe we're getting conflicting reports on how soon can we expect him back. And also, Ken Adams, defensive end, was also injured. We'd like to know how soon we can have him back as well.
Well, both P.J. and Ken should be playing in this game. Both practiced. P.J. practiced both Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So, I mean, there's not there really isn't any reduction in his opportunities to play in any way. Kendrick Adams really returns to health and practice all week as well. The one that got hurt in last week's game was Sam Montgomery, and Sam will not play, and that's a very serious injury. But he will return to football next summer.
All right. As always, to wrap things, last but certainly not least, the nearly world-famous Evil Twin.
Coach, they can fine you for telling the truth, but they can't fine me for telling the truth. When LSU goes to Auburn, Alabama, Auburn is an Indian word. It means armpit of the known universe. And when you get that, Coach, it's going to be the Twilight Zone and Groundhog Day all rolled into one. Because you're going to have Bubba #1 up in the replay booth with his grotto to Bear Bryant and his Auburn memorabilia, and he's going to be reviewing calls for the 3 officials downstairs, Bubba 2, 3, and 4, all from Birmingham, Alabama as well. And they're going to be making calls we've never heard of before and we'll never hear again. Coach, they've never called deflection exception to pass interference since 4 years. And I'm sorry, Commissioner Sly, they can't call it because it doesn't exist. Coach, I have a question. J.C. Copeland is a real freshman. He was recruited as a defensive end, but this last Saturday he played fullback, and he played very well at fullback. My question is, do you expect this move to be permanent? Is the move going to be permanent to the offensive side of the ball? And if it is, can we expect to see more of him in the future?
That's a great comment and a very good question. I have to go back and let you know that I really believe that the officiating in this league is getting better and better. And I have a working relationship with the league office. I think that Rogers Redding, who is the head of the officiating in our conference, is in constant review and addressing any officiating issues, and I really believe that the officiating has gotten much better than it's been. And I think, like for instance, last Saturday, very few missed calls and very few calls. And to me, the best, I guess, I see guys that would miss a call, but I'm seeing much less a flag thrown and getting it wrong. And I think that speaks to the work that Rogers Redding and that the commissioner's doing. And I expect to be treated extremely well at Auburn. I expect that it will be the playing field will be completely even, and two great teams will square off for victory.
Say last but definitely not least, here he is, the evil twin.
Coach, first of all, a special shout out. There's a very young special fan here today by the name of Jack Budsby, who comes all the way from my home parish, St. Landry Parish, with his family. Jack's had a lot of medical issues, but he's 7 years old, and he's proven to us adults out there how to fight like a tiger. And so I want to welcome him here today.
Yeah, I saw Jack earlier today. He's doing well.
Coach, you're a gentleman, but I'm not. And I know that you're going to be taking care of the teams between the lines, but I just want you to know, I hope you don't mind, that me and 92,000 of my closest friends have a little bone to pick with our former employee. Now, to Mr. Nick Saban, when you come to Tiger Stadium, you're coming at the right time because it is Halloween, and this will be your own personal nightmare. It's going to be kind of like Frankenstein, because just like in Frankenstein, Mr. Nick Saban, you did help create that purple and gold monster that you thought was going to go out and terrorize and destroy the college football universe. But you know what? There's karma, and that karma is this, that in Frankenstein, that purple and gold monster turns on the creator and destroys the creator. Now, Mr. Nick Saban, you have a big ego, and you probably are bigger than the University of Alabama. But one thing you're going to find out on Saturday, you are not bigger than Louisiana State University. Coach, I have a question. One of our favorite players, Pep Livingston, was injured a while back. What I'd like to know is how well is he doing, and how soon can we expect him to return?
He took snaps today, practiced today, and we're optimistic that he'll play in the game.
Coming up, as always, last but certainly not least, the nearly world-famous evil twin.
Thank you, Coach. Coach, they won't say it, but I'm going to say it. You schooled our ex-employee Nick Saban on Saturday night. For 2 months, we've been having to listen to the media pundits, the college football world. They've said what they're going to say. Now I'm going to say what I got to say. We like to introduce ourselves. You remember us. We're the LSU Tigers. We're like your 500-pound belching uncle that shows up on Friday night unannounced and uninvited. You may hate us. You may be totally disgusted by us, but you will no longer ignore us. And we're going to be sitting our purple and gold butts on your couch, and we'll be eating your chicken. So you're going to have to deal with that, Mark May, and you're going to have to deal with that, Lee Corso, and you're going to have to deal with that, America. Now get me a drumstick. Coach, I have a question. We had a couple of injuries on Saturday, and I'd like to know what the status is of one of my favorite players, Mo Claiborne, and also one of the big uglies up front, Alex Hurst. They were obviously hurt, and I'd like to know when we can expect to get them back.
I think Mo Claiborne will be prepared to play in this game. and he practiced today, and we're very optimistic that he'll be able to see time this Saturday. And Alex Hurst coming back much better than he was, certainly just upon being injured.
Famous Evil Twin.
Coach, the 2010 LSU Tigers are undefeated against eligible teams. Coach, week in and week out, I make a lot of jokes, but I'd like to expose you this week. I'm going to talk serious this week. A couple of weeks ago, my twin brother asked you for an autograph of a football. The football was for a young gentleman from Port Barre, Louisiana by the name of Jack Busby, who had a lot of mental problems when he was born and also is blind and wasn't supposed to live past his first birthday. Lived 7 years and is still living today, is still thriving, doing well today. My brother got an autograph from you, and I don't know if you remember, but you autographed it to my hero, Jack, from Les Miles. When my brother told you what he was going to do with the football, you asked for the football back, and you added some more to it. And in the bottom of it, you said, "Fight like a tiger." We gave the football to his family, and they were very appreciative, but they were very emotional about what you wrote. And we found out from his mother that Jack's grandfather passed away 1 year ago. On his deathbed, while he's passing away, he said, "Jack is my hero because he fights like a tiger."
Wow.
So, Coach, I know there's a lot of people that say that you have a horseshoe in various parts of your body. But I believe, Coach, that you have a couple of angels on your shoulders, and we're proud to have you as our coach.
Thank you very much. That's very sweet.
Coach, I have a question. First of all, quick injury report on Hurst and on Blackwell. Can we see him this weekend? And also, I'd like to ask about young Chris Falk. I know he came in briefly as right tackle, briefly in the game, replacing Shaw. How is his development, and can we expect to see him more later on as the year progresses?
Yes, Hurst. I think he'll be, kind of a day-to-day. He'll practice significantly tomorrow, and took a couple snaps today, but really wanted to give him another full day. And the game plan's, pretty routine. Not necessarily is it exactly the same, but it's not something that he'll be uncomfortable with if he needs to play.
Always the foundation and the final question of the night from our live audience, and this will be the final question of the season. And here he is, the nearly world famous Evil Twin.
Coach, 115 years to go on this very day. The Sultan of Zanzibar, armed only with swords and a marching band, declared war on world power Great Britain at 9 a.m. in the morning. At 9:02, the bombardment started, and at 9:40, the surrender was over. The war was over, and it was the shortest war in the history of the world. So, to you, Texas A&M, since you've now declared war on world power, football power, LSU, the moral of the story is you better bring more than your swords, your bugles, and your ugly mutt, Lassie. And in the words of Mike Leach, don't even bother to bring them pretend soldiers over to the game. Somebody's butt's getting whipped, and it's not going to be ours, Queen Elizabeth. Coach, I have a question.
Wow. It's an amazing thing.
We have two offensive linemen, Hurst and Blackwell, that were both injured early in the season. We want to know how well are they doing this week in football practice, and can we expect them to contribute well this season, for this particular game?
Yeah, they have not missed a practice. Hurst hasn't missed a practice since the beginning, and Ruli's taking every rep, and Will Blackwell equally, both of which will start and play. We're glad to have him back.
All right, thank you.